Yo, good evening, good morning, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Kenya Revolutionary. Karibu, 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 karibu. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. Karibu sana. I see good year. Uliingia kitambo, eh? That's good to see. Aye, good year. But anyway, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, Omred at the Omred. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades. Karibu sana. Nice to see you guys. You know the first order of business. Wants to see your notification, blinks, or unapata your alama ya notification. Like the video already. Like it. Usiharibu wakati. Please. Don't waste time because we're about to go for a ride. I'll be here for probably an hour, maybe less. I don't know. Depends on how it goes. But the topic today, as you can see, Mada ya leo, is the ODM and Azimio coalition restructuring. There's so much happening within ODM and Azimio in relation to their dealings with Ruto and how it might affect their in-house clearing of the house, or whatever the case is, what's going to happen. Because, we saw a few days ago, Raila made it very clear in public. I think they were in Wajir or somewhere, where he was addressing the public, and he mentioned that Hassan Joho and Oparanya will be taking over the ODM. The ODM, not the Azimio as the coalition, because, Raila, yes, is the head of Azimio, but the Azimio coalition itself, it's more complicated. Kuna watu ambao are feeling unsettled about what's going on with, the narco thing and all that stuff, like Omalo and so forth. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Grab some popcorn. Na ukiona hii nini, hebu weka like hapo, na kama huja subscribe, hebu harakisha subscribe. What are you waiting for? And later on, if you want, I can put the link in for somebody who, if you want to kind of contribute, kama umechoka na kujust kuandika kwa chat hapo na unataka kuingia kwa program, I can do that too, okay? But let me finish with my submission here, give you something to think, food for thought. I told you I'm your political dietitian. Takupatia some nutrition, some nutrients, ndio ile tutakusaidia upate nguvu. So ukiangalia siasa, you feel like mambo endelea vizuri. Anyway, let's start with this clip right here. You see the picture on my of this Ninio, okay? And you kind of get the picture right there of what's happening. Since Raila mentioned that Oparanya and Hassan Joho are going to be the head of the ODM, this kind of didn't go well with everyone, because there are people who are sitting waiting on the wings, like Goody is telling me, who felt like, hey, it's their time. If Baba akiondoka, I'm supposed to be on the table. Yes, I'm talking about Babu Owino, but we'll get to that. Let's just start with something before we get to the ODM, Azimio, and the Backstreet Boys, as I call them. You saw that it was on the Twitter of Oladekina's Twitter page, where he tweeted that picture of him, Babu Owino, Hassan Joho, and Junet, okay? Junet Mohammed. But let's start with something else before we get to that, because these are all related. These issues are all related. Earlier today, I was talking about the AU, chance of the AU, Raila going to AU, and how he won't make it, and how this NADCO might play a very huge role for his plan B, which is being part of the government through this NADCO thing, which is basically BBI, which is trying to change the constitution to create a position for the opposition, or whatever the case is. Let's get started with the first video so we can get going. I want you to kind of understand where I'm going with this. Let's start with the first video so you understand where I'm going with this. The first video, right? Let's watch together. Are you ready? Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades? All right, let's play the first one so we can understand where we are going with this. Ndio hiyo. Haya, ya kwanza ndio hiyo.
To President William Ruto, and as Azimio leader Raila Odinga has brought with it questions questions as to whether pressing public issues have been substantively addressed.
While the high cost of living was the opposition's main cause, it is not clear why consensus was not reached on the issue. Ayub Abdikadir with more.
A report with contents that mirror the proposals contained in the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2020, where former President Uhuru Kenyatta was, President William Ruto is, with the ODM party leader Raila Odinga remaining the constant factor of this political equation. The report by the Kimani Ichung'wah and Kalonzo Musyoka-led committee proposes to, among other things, create the leader of official opposition's office with 2 deputies, and who will come from the party or coalition that comes second in a general election, and the office of the Prime Minister to be appointed by the President, who will go through parliamentary vetting. A proposal that reflects one that was fronted by the BBI, which recommended a hybrid architecture of government, and which proposed the creation of Prime Minister's office with 2 deputies, and the office of leader of official opposition, which was put to a halt by the courts that declared the bill unconstitutional. The constitution of the committee came against the backdrop of opposition protests over the high cost of living, an agenda that led to fundamental differences between the government and opposition, the state rejecting the scrapping of the housing levy and the lessening of value-added tax on petroleum products.
It's by now clear to everyone that the cost of living was not the only issue that took us to the table for negotiations. Indeed, it was our main issue at Azimio. But there are other issues as well, which are in public domain. And it's an issue we are going to revisit time and again, and one way or the other, okay? So I don't think Kenyans should really lose hope on this matter.
We did not do justice to the single most important issue that Kenyans expected us to. That is the cost of living. And my conscience couldn't allow me to append my signature. My conscience couldn't also allow me to receive payment for a job that was half-baked. And many of my colleagues have acknowledged that the report was faulty, the report was deficient, the report was half-baked.
A number of opposition protesters were killed during the protests. This, accompanied by tough political rhetoric from all sides of the political divide, who, after all, are friends again.
And therefore, as pragmatic Kenyan patriots, you are left with the question as to whether to throw the baby with the bathwater. So the question was, do we agree on this, that we have been able to come to an understanding about, or because we have disagreed on the issue of the cost of living, we reject everything and we go back to square one?
But somehow, because of other considerations, we gave in. Now we have opened the floodgates. When these floods come in, after the Finance Bill 2024 is passed, going by the budget policy statement, Kenyans are going to feel the pinch. Kenyans are going to ask us, why didn't you fight for us at Bomas?
It bears all the hallmarks of the Building Bridges initiative. At the heart of the National Dialogue Committee report are far-reaching proposals that could force constitutional changes. This, in an attempt to complete a quest the BBI did not. And so begins the BBI sequel. And as the saying goes, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, then it probably is a duck. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
If it walks like a duck,
Talks like a duck.
it is probably a duck.
Okay. The more they peel the layers of this BBI, which is called the NADCO report, the more outrageous you'll get. Or outraged, sorry, that's what I mean. The more angry by this report, the more you read it. Because again, now the mischief in this is that Wandai and his counterparts, so Paranya, are trying to convince us that their main aim of going to Mandamano was the cost of living. And actually, it wasn't. It was never about cost of living. It was never. That was later adopted after they had Kenyans complaining about the cost of living. Their main aim, their very first press conference after the judgment was made by Koome to uphold Ruto's victory, their main aim was to have this BBI, because Raila came out and gave a press conference with Wandai and all these idiots. And they told us that they wanted something akin to the Kofi Annan Accord, which was basically government of national unity, aka BBI, shared power sharing arrangement. And now they are calling it NADCO. So they are very, very, very disingenuous when they come on camera and telling us that their main fight was about cost of living. It was never about cost of living. They adopted it later on. And that's why I'm saying Kenyans, patriotic Kenyans, should be outraged by not only this proposal, but these guys, especially whoever is agreeing to this, whether it's the president or Raila or this Kalonzo Musyoka and Wandai. This is an outrage. But I'll get to that. That's not what I want to emphasize on, because as you can see, we want to concentrate on the ODM and the Azimio coalition restructuring. Now, this NADCO thing has a part to play, a huge part to play, because remember, it is now starting to be very clear that Raila will probably not go to AU, as I said this morning. Okay? Probably. Now, I want you to think about this. Remember, I told you I'm your political dietitian, okay? Think about this theory, okay? And this is a theory, it's a conjecture on my part, okay? Could it be all this NADCO report, AU, okay, we see the benefits of it. Raila has greatly gained from this handshake. We see the appointments of his relatives into government. I mean, it's outrageous, okay? I can even show you that. I'll show you later. I'll show you that later. I'm not getting into that yet. But think about it. Again, think about this. Could it be that all this NADCO thing is not going anywhere? Yeah. Could it be that this whole NADCO thing and the AU thing, remember Raila said it was his idea, he wanted the AU thing. But could you think it was just a smokescreen? It was just something that they came up with to throw off Raila's staunch supporters. Because remember, the Kenya Kwanza side, they didn't mind a handshake as long as Ruto remains the president. They don't care. I mean, with the exception of what Gachagua, who was talking about, Wekering Mtego in the White House to keep Raila from the White House. But this is what I want you to think about. Think about this very carefully. And I will get to the restructuring part of the ODM, okay? Could it be that Raila, remember Nani alituambia, Miguna told us that Raila had been paid, okay? Hii handshake ilifanyika, Raila had been paid, but you know Raila, in order for him to stop this mandamano, he cannot just tell people, okay, let's stop this mandamano and not give you a reason why we are stopping this mandamano. He has to try to dress it up as if it is going to benefit everyone plus his supporters. So by him or them getting this, preparing this NADCO report and the AU stuff, they're trying to convince you that if Raila goes to AU or gets the AU job, it's going to benefit Kenyans, but it's not. But this whole AU thing, they know that Raila is not going to get it. That's number one. Number two, they know that this NADCO thing is unconstitutional. Remember, we just watched a clip that says this NADCO thing is basically BBI. And BBI was already ruled by the courts to be what? unconstitutional. NADCO report has already been ruled by the High Court as being what? Not anchored in law, unconstitutional. It's going nowhere. Why are they discussing it in Parliament, trying to implement it? Again, this is all done to do what? To throw off their supporters. I read, can I play Miguna? Miguna wrote something about this earlier today. He said, all this is done to keep Raila supporters, Azimio staunch supporter. It's an attempt to keep the Azimio supporters tethered. Wafungwe, wabaki. Okay? Goodyear is telling me what? Micro handshakes can buy you vice deputy. Yes. But listen to me carefully. I want you to follow me very carefully, guys. Follow me carefully. I am your political dietitian. Listen to me carefully, and I will break it down step by step. Listen to me carefully. After Raila got into a handshake with Ruto, remember, I'll remind you again, he told Mainanjenga and his minions, stop Mandamano. I'm in a talk with Ruto. They met in Mombasa. Okay? Wakashikana mkono. Okay? And a deal was agreed. It is rumored, and I have to be allegedly, Raila was paid. Just like it was alleged he was paid by Uhuru. But let's go with this. He was paid. Okay? But once he stopped the Mandamano, remember, once he stopped the Mandamano, his followers were asking, what next? They were outraged. They strongly felt like Ruto stole the election, because remember, that's what Raila told them. You know, remember, Raila and Martha Karua told them 10 million signatures, 8 million signatures will take out Ruto. So Azimio supporters were under the impression that Raila and Karua and the Azimio team were working on something to remove Ruto. Okay? So when the handshake happened, they wanted answers. Raila did not have answers. He doesn't have answers because he has already sold them out. But he will not just turn his back like he did in 2017 and pretend that, have him lose half of his supporters like he did in 2017. That's why he lost in 2022. This is what he had to do. He had to come up with this NADCO thing again, which is BBI, reintroduce it again. That's why they didn't want it in Parliament, because they knew it was unpopular. It's not going to pass, and it was designed not to pass. I'll come back to. I'm coming. Listen to me carefully. Follow me. So this AU position, he knows that he has a fanatic following. So if Raila says, I'm going to the AU, I'm going to serve Kenyans in the capacity of, as an AU chairperson, of course, you have his minions who are, Raila akifurai, the country is happy. Okay, tutamfuata. Yay, Raila is going to AU. It is time for somebody else to take over. Then there was NADCO. So this is used, listen to me, this NADCO report and the AU chairperson position is used to tell you supporters that, you see, Sisi, we members of the opposition, he's talking as if nyinyi wafuasi wake, you guys that go to the Mandamano, he's talking as if you are part of the opposition. You are part of his struggle, his personal struggle, okay? And it's a psychological thing. And unaona, sisi tulienda to, we forced, remember, he even say that, we forced the president to sit with us. He was not listening to why. Zakayo alikataa kushuka. Remember when they were calling Vasco da Gama, Zakayo amekataa kusikia, Zakayo ashuke. Now, listen to me. So now he's phrasing it like this. The Mandamano has, in effect, we got the president to sit down on the table with us to negotiate, to have a more inclusive government. Inclusive. Remember, Wandai told us that when he was in the Spice FM, he told us we are going to have an inclusive government. But I asked the question, inclusive to who? So there you go. Sa wakatuchapia hizo ukarabati, wakatuambia, okay, so we are going to have this NADCO, it's going to do this and this and this and that and this and this. And we all understand what it is, what's in there. It has nothing to do with Wananchi. But again, they're trying to dress this thing up as if we, the common Wananchi, are going to gain from them being in government, okay? That's number one. Number two, the AU position. The AU position, Raila is not going to get it. Follow me. He's not going to get it. But listen, he knows that. But hii ni usarakasi atafanya hapa to make his followers think that he's actually running for this AU position. But this is all done to, number one, keep him relevant. Number two, to keep you guys mutulie. Kwa sababu he has to have a reason. He cannot be agitating. Mnasikia? So, this is designed to keep his fanatical following watulie, to be docile, not to ask questions. Now, if you ask him, why did we stop Mandamano? He'll tell you, we stopped Mandamano so we can address the issues that affect this country, which is what? Lack of political inclusivity. Okay? He'll not tell you about AU. And by the way, I'm going for this AU to help Kenyans. So you, wananchi, new fanatical supporters, the ignorant ones, can come down. At least nimepata kitu. Hata kama sijapata hiyo urais, mimi naenda kupata kitu. That is what they're telling you. So you can be satisfied. Because he recognized that most of you will be happy just for him to get a position, some kind of position. That is enough for you. That's why you see they cannot agree on the very issue that they're claiming he wanted to fight for, which is cost of living, which is not. So now Raila goes and mentions Joho and Oparanya. Remember, Joho and Oparanya, they both don't know the game. Raila is going to run in 2027. I'm telling you right now, and I will bet you anyone $500. Goodyear, if you want to bet me, I'll bet you $500. Wake up kwa chat. Raila 2027, he's running. He'll be on the ballot. But here is the game. Now I'm getting to the topic now. The ODM and Azimio coalition restructuring. Let's get to it. Now, Sasa, once Raila mentioned that he's going to AU, kulikuwa na commotion, because now his supporters again were asking, if Raila is going to AU, who is going to be the Azimio, head of Azimio, and who is going to be the head of ODM? Enter Babu Owino, Joho, and Oparanya. Let's start with Babu Owino. I played this video the other time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's play it. I'll be quick as I explain my thought. Okay? If you're confused about anything, just ask me a question there. I'll help you. Let's look at Babu Owino. After Babu Owino had Raila Odinga mention that the ODM will now be under the care of Oparanya and Joho, this is what Babu Owino said. And he was very categorical with what he was saying, okay?
Fanya kazi na mimi, sitafanya kazi na yeye. Naona tukikaa chini, kiongozi kama Joho, tuone venye tuna negotiate mambo venye taenda hapa.
Okay.
Ndio.
Alright, chini na kiongozi kama Joho.
Tu negotiate, mimi pia niletwe meza kama principal. Kama baba ameamua sasa hayuko kwenye siasa. Mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu mimi nakuwa principal. Mwenye hataki kufanya kazi na mimi, sitafanya kazi na yeye. Na hivyo ndio itakuwa.
Babu, unamaanisha nini? Unamaanisha nini babu? What do you mean?
Umejua?
Unamaanisha nini?
Baba akiamua.
Yes.
Ni baba tu ndiye anaamua. Baba saa zile ako siasa, sisi wote tuko chini.
Yes.
Hakuna ambition ya kutaka kitu yenye iko mbele na nini. Ni chenye atakuwa ametuamulia. Lakini baba akisema sasa mimi siku ya leo nimewacha siasa. Ndugu yangu. Pale katika Azimio. Pale katika Azimio. I'm the most popular member of parliament in the whole country. The most popular, hata saizi aleki ukipigia nyanyako kule nyumbani. Mwambie nilikuwa na Babu Owino.
Okay, let's stop it at that. I don't have to play the whole of it. Now, after Babu Owino made those pronouncements, that was like 3-4 days ago, okay? Today, my friend, remember he said he will sit down with whoever wants to talk to, discuss with him or whatever the case is, right? Let's look at Ledama's tweets today. His picture, Ledama Olekina. Look at Ledama Okina, okay? Are you guys there? Did you look at Ledama's pictures today? Wacha niwaeleze basi. Let's look at Ledama's pictures today. There's something now. I'm coming to it. Okay, so here it is, Ledama's pictures. Ndio hiyo, unaziona, Azimio. Now you see. Can you guys see it on the screen? Can I make it bigger? Ndio hiyo picha, Ledama amepiga. And this is what he writes. Ni sisi tumemaliza mkutano. Chama iko imara. Then he tags Junet Mohammed, Hassan Ali Joho, and Honorable Babu Owino. Those are the pictures right there. They're taking pictures of him, all of that. So now, they're besties. So there's two factions of the ODM. Okay? There are two factions of ODM. There's the Oparanya and the Joho part. Oparanya and Joho part. Oparanya is in trouble. Oparanya akona shida na EACC. Okay, over those 57 million that he stole from Kakamega County. Simnaelewa? He has a case. So for him to run for any position, itakuwa shida because it will be chapter 6 haizi pita. Okay? So it is in his best interest to ride Raila's coattails. Okay? Because Raila will put a good word for him to Ruto, anaambie Ruto, wacheni kunifinya bwana, hii 57 million tuache hiyo story, tuende hapo kotini tufanye hivi vile, alafu tasikia there's no enough evidence so that he can be free. Okay, so Oparanya, that's why you saw Oparanya was in KTN strongly supporting this BBI NADCO nonsense. Remember that? He's supporting it very strongly because he's with Baba. He has to stay with Baba. Baba ndio atamtoa kwa hii jama kunayo, hii 57 million corruption case. Because remember, Baba now is cool with who? Ruto. And so Paranya needs Ruto to get him out of this jam ya 57 million hii aliiba kutoka Kakamega County. Okay? So he has to stick with Baba. Whatever Baba says, akonaye, he's supporting. Babu Owino does not have to really, yes, he's saying that in principle he supports Baba, yes. But you can see ameanza amesema nini? He can see that these old folks, our ODM, these old guys in the ODM want to enjoy. So let's start planning the new ODM, the generation, the new generation for ODM, the young guys, the young Turks. Okay? So akachukua hiyo side ya Joho. Because remember, Raila said ODM itakuwa nini? Will be run by who? By Joho and Oparanya. Oparanya, so ODM yenyewe iko split up, but there's a power play within ODM itself. Okay? They all support Baba, yes. They think Baba is about to leave. Baba will not leave, but I'll get to that fast. Follow me very carefully. Like the video, subscribe, share, and comment. Listen to me. So there's two factions within the ODM party. There's the Oparanya faction and there's Joho faction, okay? Baba chose Oparanya. Joho actually flexed his muscle within the chama, okay, and said he's running for president in 2027. Remember that? Baba alienda Mombasa and he stood, and most of us thought he was kind of defiant. See, he had to take power. He has to say, hey, listen, I'm standing. Now, Babu Owino kaona even Babu Owino feels he's famous. Umemsikia hapo kwa hiyo ninyo yake, kwa hiyo interview. And say, hey, listen, I'm the most popular MP politician in ODM. What are you talking about? I have to be on the table or we shall break that table if you're not going to include me on the menu. Okay? So he says, I'm going to sit with the young guys. And he mentioned in that interview, he wanted to sit down with Nani, the senator for Nairobi, Senator for Arati, Simba Arati, Ledama, Junet, and Joho. And now you saw that picture that Ledama, go to Ledama's page and see that picture they took today. Okay, so he's following up in that because they understand there's two factions. The first faction is the Oparanya faction that Baba actually chose to. The Oparanya faction includes Mbadi, Oparanya, what's his name? All these old Azimio folks. The younger faction is the Babu Owino, Sifuna, Ledama. Because remember, Like this video. I'm about to give you something that will help you in life. Remember Ledama vile aliandika when once the BBI was ninio vile Ichungwa alienda kakutana na ninio hapo kwa Capitol Hill na Raila. Remember Ledama akaeka hapo kwa Twitter page yake akasema hivi. To siasa usiweke kwa roho or something like that, of that effect. Go look at his Twitter. So in other words, he said a lot without saying a lot by actually implying that kweli tumechezwa hapa, baba ametucheza 10-0 hapa, because you can tell these guys are not happy about this BBI thing. They are not happy about it. They are not. The younger folks. Oparanya needs this. Okay? Yes, thank you, Goody. Oparanya needs this. The only way Oparanya has to suck up to this BBI nonsense is because he wants to get out of the jam. Your 57 million aliiba hapo Kakamega. So he needs Raila Odinga. Since Raila has chosen him, he needs Raila Odinga aende akaongee na Ruto, wafanye ile kitu ndio akienda kotini waseme there's no enough evidence, wamwachilie. Okay, so he can breathe and enjoy his 57 million in peace. Okay, Joho and the young tax wanaona hivi, you know what, our wazee wametuenjoy for a long time. They understand the people at the ground are, especially the Azimio part people, supporters are like, you know what, what's going on? Hii mambo ya handshake every time tumechoka. Yeah? I'm going to check the, yes. Yes. Wanaangalia hivyo. They're tired of it. It's time to move in a new direction. Sasa ndio unaona kina Babu Owino and the young folks are trying to start thinking about life past Raila Odinga. But I have bad news for them. Bad news for them. Raila Odinga is not going anywhere. 2027, he'll be with them. He will be running. Now, here's the blowback. Azimio is fragmented because now they're making an issue out of NADCO, right? They want to pass this NADCO thing. NADCO is not going anywhere. It will go for a referendum. Yes, we might. I don't even think we shall go to a referendum because the whole thing is not anchored in law. Remember that. Remember that. But here is where Martha Karua and Eugene Wamalwa shall get out of Azimio. These guys, uliona wakuweka sahihi hapo. They say they don't believe in that hiyo sahihi. They say they don't believe in it. They don't believe in this BBI thing, okay? So, it doesn't make sense if you're not seeing eye to eye with the head of the Azimio party, okay, who is basically Raila Odinga. Don't count Uhuru. Uhuru is not even involved. Uhuru doesn't care. If anything, Uhuru is hanging out with Kalonzo. We'll get to Kalonzo, okay? So, Eugene Wamalwa, anajitoa kimpango. He's anajitoa kimpango, pole pole, okay? Because he said, I'm not going there. I'm not putting my sahihi there. I don't agree with this NADCO thing, okay? Martha Karua did not show up in that. And that's the point of split. So Azimio is split in 4 ways if you look at it. Yes, they'll save face and be together, wanajifanya kwa pamoja, but this rift will be more clear as we go. The first rift is the rift between Oparanya and the old folks in ODM and Babu Owino, Ledama, and the young folks within ODM. The second rift is the rift between Kalonzo and the rest of the coalition. Kalonzo wants to be in the ballot in 2027. Okay? Whoever is going to stand up, because the coalition, the Azimio coalition will not Kalonzo. They shall not endorse him. They'll not. Okay? It will be Raila Odinga in 2027. And if it's not Raila Odinga, it's either going to be Joho or Oparanya. And either way, Kalonzo feels like, you know what? It's my turn or nobody else. I'm gone. He's leaving. He's out. That's why you see him. He's running around and like I'm interview. He's with Moi's son, Gideon Moi, and Uhuru Kenyatta, because he has checked out. Kalonzo may check out. He's checked out already. Either way, he knows in his mind, anaenda kwa presidential candidate. Whether it's Raila Odinga who is going to be the candidate of Azimio or not, Kalonzo is leaving. Yeah, he's not playing these games anymore. Amengoja, he has been loyal, he's out. Okay, so Kalonzo is out. So that's the second split, okay? Now, the third split is Eugene Wamalwa within the NADCO coalition. For Eugene to reject this NADCO, that's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. Okay, there are some people who are saying, oh, Eugene anatoka kwa sababu maybe he saw that in this his own your NADCO arrangement in the next government, if they ever pass this thing, goes to referendum, he'll not be included. Fine. Maybe so. But there's no way. Because remember, this is the very thing Raila Odinga wanted before anything. So for Eugene Wamalwa to disagree with this, he's not with the plan. Your plan, ya Raila na Raila is ODM basically. Now, if you can't go on with the program with ODM, because remember ODM is the strongest party within this coalition, you're basically out. And you can see Eugene Wamalwa is drifting towards Kalonzo. I told you on a vile walienda sijui wapi huko, where it was him, Kalonzo, and Gideon Moi and Uhuru Kenyatta. The fourth split is Martha Karua. Karua pia me check out. She said it once and for all. Kitambo alisema hii NADCO mimi sitaki. I'm not putting any signature on it. I'm out. Acheni mambo, I don't think about it. I'm already done with it. Okay? So, the only way, like I said, this was done by design, because I want you to put this, I always tell you in this program here, and write this note down. Everything I say, write it down. Raila's role in Kenyan politics is what? Is to suppress any grassroots revolutionary movement. If Raila leaves and doesn't run in 2027, if he leaves the political scene, it is very easy to beat Ruto. It is very easy to get anyone, any principled politician. Kiamtata can stand there and people will vote for Kiamtata and beat Ruto. It's so easy. Okay? But Ruto will not be removed. Not because he's so strong and all that is popular. Ruto will not be removed because Ruto is the what? Is the colonial puppet that the colonialists want. And they're using Raila to strengthen Ruto's position. So Raila is going to pretend that he's going to AU while everybody else in the opposition are fighting, are splitting. Okay? Unaona Kalonzo ndio huyo anataka kukimbia, na atakimbia. Karua ndio huyo atakimbia. ODM ndio huyo washikani vizuri, unaona wakina Ledama wanataka wameanza chama chao, Paranya ndio huyo. That is the aim. So when Raila comes back in 2027, umesikia akianza kuimba hivyo, kuimba akisema ati atarudi, which he won't be the AU person in he will still be here. Okay? So in 2027, atasimama tena. Guess what will happen? Atasimama not to support Ruto, but he will be helping Ruto indirectly by standing there, because most of the opposition, if there's no strong candidate from the opposition besides Raila, if there's none, which there is as of now, people will still gravitate towards Raila Odinga, and some people will go towards Kalonzo Musyoka, and that will split the opposition vote and will give Ruto the victory. Okay? So, what I'm trying to say is this. This is a game that has been played. In summation, Raila was paid in that meeting in Mombasa. His aim for going for AU and this NADCO report is to what? To cool the temperatures within the opposition side, even within his fanatical followers. In effect, it's bringing a split within the opposition, which he doesn't mind at this time. He doesn't mind. Who stands to gain when the opposition is divided? It is William Ruto. So as we head to 2027, no one will be challenging Ruto unless we have an outsider like Okiom Tata or somebody else. Don't count Jimmy Wanjigi. So heading to 27, Ruto will be the constant, the president who has all the in your machinery, state machinery. There'll be no strong opposition. And guess what? Raila Odinga will come back and be the opposition to run against Ruto. And he will lose because of the split within the opposition, because Kalonzo will not be will not be running behind Ruto. I mean, behind Raila. Kalonzo will not be supporting Raila in 2027. And Karua will sure not be supporting Raila in 2027. Okay? And Raila will lose again. Ruto will win in 2027. Alafu tutakuwa na ninio. So unaona Yonadiko nataka kuiweka yule mtu ameshindwa, the number 2 person becomes the leader of the opposition. So this NADCO thing, what I drag mpaka 2027, they want to implement it. Referendum, like I say, I might agree with, they'll do it illegally because they don't care. Just like Buchachi said, I'm sorry, in the morning I was trying to play Buchachi's part of the video, but ilikwama. So let me try it again and see what he was saying. I've been saying that if there's coming, the referendum in Dakuja will be forced to go to have a plebiscite. Now what to force is illegal, but they're going to do it. But listen, here it is. Let me play Buchachi because it was Ninio. I'm sorry, in the morning, my first video in the morning, it did not play. I didn't get to chance to sikuweza kuicheza, but I'll play it one more time when he was giving his view on what we're about to face. So here it is. Mko sawa? Haya ndio hiyo basi. Tucheze Buchachi, whatever his name is. I didn't agree with most of his submission, but for the most part, there's some places where I agree. All right, ndio hiyo. Let's go.
It's around the NADCO report. So much hope was placed on these two groups coming to a sitting arrangement, agreeing on the issues to canvass, and thereafter we had the report. Does it meet the expectation of the masses? And do you agree that it should be interrogated once it goes to the floor of the House?
First, let me just address myself to the issue of how we as a country like to belittle mass action. We like to belittle demonstrations and bedevil it. I would like to remind us that there's a country called France, where for almost a year last year, the workers demonstrated, shut down the entire country to bring the government to a negotiation. It is not illegal, even in our constitution, for people to demonstrate. And I think it is something that we must begin to agree to as a people. Because if we are to say today that demonstrations are bad because they're being done by Azimio, and say that whatever the agitators of the demonstration were doing is illegal, then we are removing a vital part of the constitution, which is the right to picket and to show displeasure. The very act of democracy is about majority having their way and the minority having their say. Every single Kenyan, not just Boniface Mwangi, is entitled to demonstrations. They're not entitled to violence. That's not what I'm saying. Therefore, the NADCO report and any other agreed position that this country has had over time is not a bad thing. It is not bad for President William Ruto to organize a team to talk to Azimio and say what the voters you represent, the ideas you represent, how can we marry them so that we come up with the same conclusion? Now, why am I saying this? President William Ruto himself, by his own pen, in a letter to Parliament, at the beginning of his presidency, put nearly 3/4 of the issues being addressed by NADCO in that letter. So if there was an initiator of that NADCO report, it is President William Ruto himself. Okay? It is not just about demonstration.
Okay.
When you look at the issues, for example, of gender representation, it is not an Azimio issue. It is every woman, every young person who's affected by that law. And two, we must understand that even in the United States today, the oldest democracy on earth, they are consistently having bipartisan talks to date. It is only in Kenya where we assume that we must forever be enemies. And anytime President Ruto shakes hands with.
Anyway, in submission, all I want to say is this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, friends, enemies, and currents. The handshake had been made in Mombasa in the presence of Olusegun Obasanjo, Suluhu of Tanzania, Raila Odinga, and Ruto. This AU and NADCO stuff is just a red herring to throw off everyone for the Azimio folks to calm down, especially the fanatical followers. Okay, they were not the majority of the people, but there are quite a number of people, okay? It is the AU thing and the NADCO thing is designed to save face for Raila Odinga. It's an alibi. It's used by Raila Odinga to show you, hey, this is what we want as opposition. He wants to make you believe that you're part of the opposition. He wants to make you believe that a victory for these politicians getting included in government is a victory for their supporters or a victory for their wananchi, which in reality it's not. The only benefit we see from this guy, the only benefit, the only benefit Raila Odinga, the NADCO, the opposition gets is actually Raila Odinga, who has benefited from this NADCO thing, okay? And we'll read Miguna's tweet as I wrap up. I'm almost done. I just want to show you Miguna's tweet, which is quite telling how Raila has really gained from this handshake. It's ridiculous. The nepotism, as we talked about it, okay? Can you see Raila's? This is Miguna's tweet, okay? Let me start with the last one that he wrote somewhere around here, okay? The first one was 21 hours ago, and he wrote something. He said, while at his base of Kibra slums, conman Raila Odinga demanded that President William Ruto implements the NADCO report without alterations. He also said that he is going nowhere and that he will be back to vie for the presidency in 2027 if the people call him. Meanwhile, on the same day, somewhere in Trans Nzoia, ODM deputy leader and Raila Odinga endorsed successor, Governor Oparanya, demanded that President William Ruto must not implement the NADCO report without changes, okay? The conman has mastered all the tricks of keeping his cows tethered with sisal strings. So Raila Odinga, his aim, easy masarakasi za NADCO na AU, is to keep his supporters tethered. He has to maintain that support. He has to maintain that support, the opposition support. Like I told you, the day that Raila will leave the political scene is the day that Kenya can actually have a real grassroots revolutionary movement. Because right now there are so many people who still think this man means well for the country. I'll read the last one on Miguna's speech. Tweets. Okay, the last one is very interesting. He said, Mandamano and other con games are all about one family, which is the Odinga family. He mentioned Mr. Odinga, of course, is running for the AU chairman position, Raila. Mr. Oburu Odinga, Siaya Senator. Mrs. Odhiambo Odinga, Busia, Kisumu Women's Rep. Winnie Odinga, MP, Iala. Okay. Akinyi Walkoa Odinga, Ambassador. She just got it. Trufosa Osewe Odinga, Siaya, MCA. Okay. A proposed proposal is a proposed position for Ada Odinga, the wife of Raila Odinga, for the Vice Chancellor of Rongo University. Okay. And Dr. Wenwa Odinga is Director of Kemri. Okay. Pauline Odinga is Mombasa Chief Officer. Elijah Oburu Odinga is Siasa Chief Officer. Sorry, it's Jakoyo Oburu Odinga is the Chief Officer of CIA, not Elijah, okay? But there is no difference. The Odingas have a right to work, but they don't have a right to be employed in public service or by governments on nepotistic and preferential basis, which is true. So the biggest winner in this whole saga, especially on the other side, is Raila Odinga himself and his family. No one else benefit to this. Like I say, again, for those of you who still doubt, Raila Odinga will be on the ballot on 2027, this coming election. He will not win the AU chairperson position, and if he will not win it. I can tell you that right now. And number two, the NADCO thing will probably fail. We'll go to the courts. It will be declared unconstitutional. Your story itaisha hapo, and we'll be back in square one. Raila will still play these games atanyamaza, letting Ruto to rule in the name of concentrating for his bid for AU seat. Okay? Then after that is when ataanza kupiga makelele hapa, maintaining his position as the official opposition leader, okay, leading up to 2027. Then 2027 we'll get to the same thing. We'll have a split opposition. Some people will go to Kalonzo, some people will go to Raila Odinga, and then Ruto will win again. Then we shall have another handshake, another handshake, and another stupidity that will come along. That is the game. That's the script that has been played over and over and over again since 2002. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I would like to thank everyone who have been watching. You guys who have been watching from Twitter, you guys who have watching here in YouTube, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and wake a notification on, so every time I come in, you can always get my notification. I'm a VP. All right, guys, thank you very much. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and blessings. I'm out.